Hey, Father's Day is coming up this weekend. What are you doing to celebrate the dad in your life, the granddad in your life? Hey, maybe even that great-granddad in your life. And we're taking our travels to North Tonawanda as I visited Rustic Buffalo Home Décor, Accents, and Artisan Market on Shawnee Road. The Buffalo Brews podcast starts right now. Welcome everyone, it's Tuesday, it's Brews Day, and you know what that means. I am Jason Ettinger, and thank you for listening as we come to you with the fun, the interesting, the tasty, and the inviting, all going on all over Western New York. Hey, if you're listening right now and you can hear my euphorious voice, you're doing so on one of the many podcast platforms that the Buffalo Brews podcast is available on. Whether it's Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, we're excited to be available on so many platforms. So tell your family, tell your friends, co-workers about us, and have them simply search Buffalo Brews. All right, folks, on to this week's episode. So I'm recording this opening on Saturday, and today being Saturday is National Rosé Day. With the current physical training that I'm in right now, I try to keep this bikini dad bod, so I really can't go full rosé as I like to on a day like today, but I like to with typically with a Woodbridge from Robert Mondavi or from Toast Winery. However, what I was introduced to was Boda Box Breeze Dry Rosé. Low on the calories and carbs and a good sipper. And what I am looking forward to as we get into the summer months is getting back to what I like to call rosé and slay, which is rosé wine and horror movies. That's horror movies. We gotta make sure we enunciate that properly, folks. I have some Woodbridge that's ready to chill right now and head into the blender with ice, and then voila. As far as this silly training is going, or maybe not so silly training, I'm certainly a glutton for punishment, as about 18 months ago I decided, I didn't decide, it kind of happened for me that I was going to trash my knee running in what was going to be my one and only half marathon. But I did it, and I was able to check that off of the list. It's done. So now you got 2018, where I had trained for over a year, what would be a little running career to be able to check off my bucket list, and it came with plenty of personal triumphs. I came to fall in love with two specific races in Buffalo. The first being the Veterans 5K, which is run usually on the first Saturday in November down at the Erie Basin Marina, and the starting point is at Templeton Landing. This year it will take place on Saturday, November the 6th, and is a race that preserves, protects, and honors all of those men and women who served in the past and are serving currently in our military. And this year is going to be the 10th anniversary of the race, and it's going to be my 4th appearance in the race. I really enjoy the course. It's fairly flat, runs by the Naval Park. It goes all the way out to Erie Basin Marina Point, and I love all the people who participate in this. You have veterans, you have active duty, military, police, and supporters from every walk of life, and I always look forward to running in it. And you can as well. All you have to do is head over to destinationraces.com/veterans-race to register, and let me know if you do, and we'll be in this together to honor our veterans. So, and the second race that I really enjoy is the race I actually made my racing debut in 2018, and that's the Tunnel to Towers 5K, which will take place on Saturday, September 11th, which will also be the 20th anniversary of the attacks on New York and Washington. Now, that race, which is going into its 5th year, supports the Stephen Siller Tunnel to Towers Foundation. The foundation honors the legacy of New York City firefighter Stephen Siller, who, back on September 11th of 2001, had just got off of work at Brooklyn's Squad 1 and was heading to play golf with his brothers when the attack on the World Trade Center occurred. Responding to the call, Stephen called his wife, Sally, and asked her to tell his brothers that he would catch up with them later. Little did he know the devastation that had gone on at the World Trade Center. So back to work, he retrieved his gear and he headed for the towers in his pickup truck, but he only made it as far as the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, which had been closed already due to the attack. So determined to carry out his duty, he strapped on the 60 pounds of gear onto his back and he raced on foot nearly 3 miles through the tunnel and up Manhattan to the Twin Towers, where he gave up his life trying to save others. Stephen left behind a wife, 5 children, and a very large and extended family, including many, many friends, to do so in service for his city. The foundation helps pay the mortgages for families that are impacted by 9/11 illness deaths, and they also build mortgage-free smart homes for veterans and first responders who have suffered catastrophic injuries that affect their mobility. It's a truly admirable organization, and the race this year, as it always does, takes place at the Bellevue Fire Hall on Como Park Boulevard in Cheektowaga. That will go as an up and back race that goes up through Como Lake Park up to the football fields and back. So imagine being in a race with a large cheering section for each and every finisher. And that's going to be my 3rd appearance, as last year's race was canceled due to COVID. And I do have some folks that are going to be coming on board as new runners, and I have a bunch of friends with Team RWB and the world around who are going to be joining me at that race as well. So yeah, I'm 48 years old, I'm still running, thus the glutton for punishment comment. Put that on top of all of the hiking, biking, and binge watching of season 6 of Gilmore's, and well, here I am. So Father's Day is coming up this Sunday, and the weather currently is projected sunny and 75. I guess you couldn't ask for anything more perfect in Buffalo, right? Now, since there is no such thing as Father's Day brunch, enter dramatic pause here, there are a million opportunities to do great things this weekend, from firing up the grill to family get-togethers, or how about a place to check out where you can shop for some great Buffalo-themed vendors and items for yourself or for your father. Buffalo Brew Fab, which is located at 1565 Kenmore Avenue in Buffalo, is going to be hosting their summer open house this Saturday. That's going to be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now listen to this. Think about custom metalwork, home goods, vintage clothing, artwork, jewelry. And then there's going to be food by Pork Belly's Barbecue, which I have had before and is quite delicious, and craft beer tastings that are provided by One-Eyed Cat Brewing. Now you think to yourself, One-Eyed Cat Brewing, I've never heard of that one, because you might not have. One-Eyed Cat has been working to get their first facility up and running, but they were kind of hindered because of COVID. So you can actually do a search on, especially on Facebook, and you can find a link to their fundraising and be able to go check out One-Eyed Cat Brewing for everything that they offer. They're going to be on site this Saturday. Buffalo Brew Fab is Buffalo's custom metal fabrication shop, and they can literally bring any vision to life. Bar decor and furniture, signage, fire pits, home decor, draft towers, keg work, home decor. They also do CNC plasma cutting as well as welding. They've done some custom work for the aforementioned One-Eyed Cat Brewing, 12 Gates Brewing, Froth Brewing, Lily Bead Meads, Armor Tap Room, as well as Horsehead Brewing. So make sure that you come out on Saturday. Again, that's their location, 1565 Kenmore Avenue in Buffalo, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And look, shop, add something great to your home, your man cave, your garage. So happy Father's Day this weekend to all the dads, the granddads, and the great-granddads out there. I'm not going to bring this part of the podcast down because, things happen and life goes on, but I lost my father back in 2013 suddenly, and I get the opportunity now and again to visit my parents' resting site, which is located in Mina, New York. And this past, or actually 2 weekends ago, I went out to Ohio to visit some cousins for a birthday party out there, and I got a little early start and met my sister and my brother-in-law out there to, so do some spring tidying up and, kind of get things cleaned up and looking good around my parents' resting site. And it's the weekend after Memorial Day weekend at that point, so there are so many flags and stakes that are placed at various stones that are around the cemetery, indicating, members who had passed away who were members of our armed forces. So after we were done cleaning up the site, and my brother-in-law suffered one of his many allergy attacks while he was there from all the flowers. We walked around the cemetery for a little while, and we were looking at the different stones, and you place pennies to acknowledge that they were fellow members of the armed forces. I was a U.S. Air Force veteran. My brother-in-law served in the Marines, and we took some time to walk around and look at some of the resting sites for other veterans of foreign wars. So we found some from Vietnam, Korea, Grenada. We also found some going back as far as World War II, World War I, the Civil War, and a few that we actually found in that cemetery from the Revolutionary War. And while we were going through, we came across one specific headstone and did not know that it was considered one of the main points of interest for the cemetery. This gentleman was a Medal of Honor winner back in 1865, a gentleman by the name of Ebenezer Skelly, who was born in Mina back on August 16th of 1842. He died in 1898, but he received the Medal of Honor in 1865 for his years of service. So he only served 3 years as part of the U.S. Army in the 112th New York Infantry. But during the American Civil War, he served in the Siege of Suffolk, the Second Battle of Charleston Harbor, the Bermuda Hundred Campaign, the Battle of Cold Harbor, the Siege of Petersburg, the Second Battle of Petersburg, the Battle of the Crater, and the Battle of Chiffin's Farm. And for all the work that he did in all these battles, he received the Medal of Honor. Now, you can go on to Wikipedia and really get a full write-up on all of his history and accomplishments, but one part that I actually wanted to read from was his Medal of Honor citation. He was recognized for his service to the nation when the federal government presented him with the Medal of Honor on April the 6th of 1865, and according to the Military Times, his citation contained the following information. The President of the United States, in the name of Congress, takes pleasure in presenting the Medal of Honor to Corporal Ebenezer Skelly, United States Army, for extraordinary heroism on 29 September 1864, while serving with Company Delta, 112th New York Infantry, in action of Chapin's Farm, Virginia. Corporal Skelly took the colors of his regiment, the color bearer having fallen, and carried them through the first charge. Also in the second charge, after the color guards had been killed or wounded, he carried the colors up the enemy works where he fell wounded. His date of action, September 29, 1864, awarded on April 6, 1865, in the service to the U.S. Army, rank of Corporal, Company Delta, for the 112th New York Infantry. So there is a placard that is outside of the cemetery in honor of Corporal Skelly. And going back to his site, we noticed that all around the area is his entire family, to which my sister had brought to my attention that there were members of the Skelly family that we went to school with in Sherman, and it's got me thinking about those connections. We live in a small world as it is. I mean, even that day after we visited the cemetery, we went to breakfast before I went out to Ohio to visit family, and even while we were there, as we left, there was a woman who shouted our last name, Ettinger, and as we turned around, it was a woman who lived next door to us when we grew up. And I hadn't seen her since her brother graduated from high school in 1991. So now you know how much time has passed and what a small world we live in. So I know that doesn't really connect Father's Day, but it's, visiting my father's resting place and then taking in time to kind of mix Memorial Day weekend in and those folks who died in action, or, even in the case of the final resting place for a lot of our veterans. I know that doesn't apply to Memorial Day because those were those who were killed in action, but it's just it's humbling to know how many folks are out there and seeing resting sites for those that are even back to the American Revolutionary War, who are still acknowledged with the placard, with a flag, and they're remembered on Memorial Day for their service to the country. If you have been listening on the radio or on television since spring sprung in Western New York, you have heard the name John Perrone, and you've heard the voice that comes along with John's work of art. John Perrone is the face that runs the place. He is energy personified, and he's one of the owners of Rustic Buffalo Home Décor, Accents, and Artisan Market. This is an interview that I conducted with John a few weeks before Memorial Day, and you'll hear about how the business came to be, their struggles through COVID, and where they're headed as 2021 progresses. Since this interview, I made a visit back to Rustic Buffalo, basically to see it in full swing on the weekend while they were holding their outdoor artisan market, and you would not be disappointed. You have to take a visit out to Rustic Buffalo to see everything that they have to offer. There literally is something for everybody, young and old, family center, something to eat, something to do, and so many things to look at, shop, buy, take in, and enjoy an afternoon with friends and family. This is my interview with John Perrone of the Rustic Buffalo Home Décor, Accents, and Artisan Market. So researching Rustic Buffalo Home Décor, Accents, and Artisan Market.
Yeah, yes.
And so we're on the property at 6610 Shawnee Road in North Tonawanda.
Yes.
And this is the property for the would have been the former antique co-op.
Yep.
And the old white linen tea room.
Yes,
Yep.
The linen tea house. And then honestly, the old antique co-op is the big barn in front. It's still active.
Okay.
It's still alive and active. They're still selling. So they have the big barn, separate companies from us.
Okay.
But we have the middle barn and the rest of the property.
All right. And so I'm going to read the description as I had it laid out because you have so much to offer, and even walking through the store to get up here.
Yeah.
Such an incredible selection that I saw already. So you have it listed as farmhouse decor, rustic decor and accents, vintage decor, antiques and jewelry, repurposed home furniture and decor, candles, clothing, metal arts, textiles, glass art, ceramic art.
Yep.
And photography, prints, buffalo-themed decor, which everybody around here just loves, and homemade items for basically every taste.
Yeah.
And how many artisans do you feature here on site?
So 110 artisans are here between our barn and our new Victorian house, which is the old tea house. So there's 110 artisans. Now, they are not necessarily on site. They actually make their goods, leave their goods, they stock their goods in the middle of the night, and then, of course, we sell their goods for them on a daily basis. So we're open 7 days a week, including Saturdays, Sundays. Even on Saturdays and Sundays, we have an additional 25 artisans out back of our barn, which is our outdoor artisan market. So that runs from May 1st to October 31st.
Wonderful. And so to talk about you as the owner, so it's you, and I have listed also as a D. Scott.
D. Scott DeMott is one of my business partners,
Okay.
yes.
And how did the Rustic Buffalo come to be?
Yes, I'll tell you, the pandemic. The pandemic was the nucleus to Rustic Buffalo. So we had quite a few artist friends of different different painters, and we had sculpture people in our lives that were out of business. They couldn't sell their wares. The Allentown Art Festival was canceled. Different festivals around Western New York, Niagara County, Erie County were canceled. Everything was canceled, and this is what they survived on. And this is how they made their money. This is how they made their money for their family, for themselves, whatever it might be. And what didn't make sense to us is that you could go to a store and shop. You could go to the Target. You could go to Walgreens, wherever, and shop. But you couldn't shop for artistic things. And that didn't make sense to us. So what we decided to do was open up Rustic Buffalo Artisan Market. And yes, we are home decor, and we have all different types of artisans in here. When we first did this, we thought, we'll probably have 30 artisans. But when we actually put a press release out, I could not believe the number of artisans that were in need of a place, a home, a brick and mortar. And initially, we received over 350 applications to be part just in this building, not even thinking we were going to take over other pieces of the campus, of the Rustic Buffalo campus. And it's been completely overwhelming. So our grand opening was November 14th of last year. Crazy time, pandemic. We have holidays coming. November 20th was 1 week, or I'm sorry, November 14th was 1 week away from Thanksgiving, essentially.
Right, no more than 10 at the table.
Right, no more than 10 at the table, 6 feet away. And here's two guys trying to open up a business to help support what they thought were their friends, but also now other community members. And it was the most beautiful thing ever, let me tell you. The community came out and supported us. That we had excellent media press and attention. And as the need furthered and as the pandemic got worse, as we all know, God forbid it got worse, I started to receive more and more applications and letters of, how good of a job we've done with just the barn at, 6610 Shawnee. And what else could we do? Like, what else? I mean, was there something more we could do to help relieve that stress of other artisans? So we thought a little out of the box, and we're like, well, there's a vacant house on the same property. It's literally within 100 feet of the barn. And there's a small little, what they used to call the chicken coop of the farm. Very small building. It's about 500 square feet in the very front of the building. We thought, which were empty, both were empty at the time. And we thought, well, we could convert those to artisan areas. And that's exactly what we did. So we have 3 buildings on the campus that are filled with nothing but artisan work. And when I say artisans, it doesn't mean that they are making a sculpture necessarily or crafting this or crafting that. We also have food artisans on the campus. So there is such a thing. And we created basically a gourmet kitchen surrounded by local food artisans. So they make barbecue sauces and sweet glaze and honey butter and garlic butter and all these types of different things that you would probably never think of. And we have our artisan that focuses on doing nothing but bake shops, like cookies and cakes and cookie platters and things like that. That's true artist. And we took that into consideration. So when we opened the second building, we wanted it to be more of, this is not a shopping experience any longer. This is now a destination. This is a destination for our artisans. This is a destination for the community. We thought out of the box and created the second and third buildings and created the bake shop and the gourmet kitchen. And what comes along with gourmet kitchen and the bake shop are families. And we thought, this is perfect. It's perfect for the Wheatfield community. It's perfect for NT. It's perfect for all of Western New York. I'm surprised but not surprised at the people walking through the doors. People are coming from Pennsylvania and Jamestown and Fredonia and Rochester and Seneca Falls, which is like on Seneca Lake, to come to here because it's not a shopping experience, it's a destination. So they can bring their families. We have a family game zone. So we thought about including families, and we created a family game zone in which, if you're not into the shopping thing, or maybe you're tired, or maybe you're exhausted from doing all this shopping, you can sit, have a Danish, have a cup of coffee, have a hot cocoa, or whatever it might be, and sit out in our big backyard, our porch. We have a beautiful front porch. We have a beautiful back deck, and just relax. You can play games such as cornhole, outdoor Yahtzee, tic-tac-toe out in the yard. There's just so many things you can do, which is fun.
I love it. You've covered such a large gambit.
And I know, I don't stop talking.
That's okay. That's okay. You have an amazing campus, like you said, a destination, and on top of that, you're being embraced by what the Western New York community and beyond really is. I mean, there are a few businesses that could boast that they become this destination and that they are really just taken in by the community, whether it's the support from the surrounding area. And your location itself is amazing. I mean, you drive out of North Tonawanda, anybody who lives in NT knows what NT is, but they don't know that NT really extends beyond Niagara Falls Boulevard.
Sure.
And then, this is how we get to Medina, or how we're going to Lockport. We're going to go this way.
Right.
But they don't know that all these great places are out here.
Right.
And so you mentioned that you had the bake shop and cafe. So one of the things that I had noted was you can get scones, you can get cookies, sort of a sweet treat shop, and get a coffee, whether you want to sit here and enjoy it, like you said, on one of the patios, or get it to go. And one of the things that really intrigued me that you don't get in a lot of places when it comes to getting something to eat and enjoy is what you call a growler box.
Yes, a growler box. That's kind of fun. And, I've experienced, I did not come up with the name growler box. It is a Canadian thing that honestly that has taken off, and it has made it to the States. And our artisan of the bake shop thought, well, let's take that show on the road a little bit and create a growler box for our residents and our community members and, the people that are coming in and wanting to eat. So are they able to grab a sandwich? Yes, they are able to grab a sandwich. They're able to grab fresh fruits, whatever they want, whatever they find works for them. But these growler boxes are unbelievable, and what I like to refer to them, they are a potpourri of nothing but wonderful things. We have the simplest things of crackers and olives, and we have block olives and green olives and hummus and hot peppers and pepperoni with pepper, and it reminds me of items that would be spread out over a charcuterie board, but really are in this beautiful growler box. Cheeses, all different types of aged cheeses, fresh mozzarella, and a whole bunch of just wonderful things that you can just nibble on and eat out in the yard or just dunk in. And last weekend it was funny because I saw somebody, a family of four. There wasn't any room on the deck. They laid out their blanket and laid out the growler box, and they all just sat there with, being safe. Nobody was around them. It was just their family. No one bothered them, and they all just nibbled on the growler box. Some had the hummus, and some had the olives, and, there's some stuff in there for kids as well. And it was just exactly what we were created for. Like why we came up with Rustic Buffalo Artisan Market. And it was because of the family piece. And when I just took a step back and watched that, I thought, God, our dreams are really coming true in front of us. Like the families are coming because we are a destination, and that's what we wanted to provide. Yes, we have shopping, but honestly, to me, that's secondary. That is secondary. It's about a community coming together. It's about a community and a business coming together to be successful. This community needed something, especially during the pandemic. And, we're proud to say that we're an NT, but we're also proud to say that we're in Wheatfield too, because, there's this Wheatfield NT struggle going on, to be honest with you.
Been for years.
Right. It's been like that for years. And, I'm Team NT, I'm Team Wheatfield, I'm both. But during the pandemic, we created an area for the community where they could get thermometers and pulse oximeters and Band-Aids and first aid kits and things that essential needs that they could utilize to take care of their families during the pandemic. We were thinking about them during those times because at that time that's what we thought that they needed, and even like we had some walkers here in case you needed a walker to purchase a walker or leg lifters or whatever it might be. It was almost like we had a mini pharmacy because we had to transform a portion of the business into what the community needed at that time. So I mean, it vastly went away because they didn't need it.
Right, based on the need.
Yeah, based on the need. We had quite a few. We ran out of pulse oxes. We ran out of thermometers, and at that point, there was nowhere else to get them. Thank goodness we stocked up on thousands of gloves and masks, and people would come in and were buying baggies of gloves and masks, and we were able to give those out, not knowing where the future was going to lead us with this pandemic. And of course, we've converted that now into a special food area. But, we're very, very COVID minded. And I think it's because we were created during the pandemic. We take it very serious. We continue to take it very serious. You and I are sitting here today, and we are still 6 feet away. We are taking precautions, the necessary precautions. And, we live that life of doing what is right. If we are told to wear masks, we are told to wear masks. Here at Rustic Buffalo, until we get the guidance from the state, we go by state guidelines. Sure. So it's masks for everybody. That includes employees and that includes customers. Our disinfection process, I want to talk a little bit about our disinfection process because there's some people out there that really haven't left their home still. That's amazing to me. True. I mean, I hear I haven't left my home since a year. I want you to know that it's safe. It is safe. And, this airborne disease, we have all done a great job of protecting ourselves and each other. And at Rustic Buffalo, you will find hand sanitizers everywhere. And you will find glass shields or plastic shields between the customer and the people cashing out. You will find everybody wearing masks. And what you don't see behind the scenes is that we do a blue light, UV light disinfection process on all of our flat surfaces or high touch surfaces. So we know where those are, and there's about 15 of them throughout the building where they're high touch or often touched areas, and we take a blue light and do that every single night and every single morning, and we do that to keep our customer safe, our community safe. So for those people that are listening to this and those people that are sitting home and maybe on the teeter of, okay, it's almost time to go out, trust me, if you're going to go out, come to Rustic Buffalo, try it out. If you don't feel comfortable, you can always hop back in the car and head back out, but we are safe.
You made a point earlier talking about the family with the blanket because there was not enough room on the porch, which tells me good day, busy day. Yeah. It was a wonderful weekend this past week.
Yeah.
And, that would tell me, okay, we want to be here. We're going to sit down and take a break before we go through, some more of the floor space. So, hey, go and grab that blanket out of the car. We'll just set up our own little area right here. Sure. And there's people who are now, those are people who, whether they just became comfortable or have been comfortable getting out and just knowing that they can make their own atmosphere.
Right.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have enough land that you can do that. I mean, this entire area is filled with areas that you can sit under a tree or sit in one of our beautiful Adirondack chairs and just relax, read a book, have a cup of tea or whatever it might be, and get away from life for a second. Right. Turn off the TV and really focus on really the important things.
Right. And I can vouch for, just me pulling up here. You were already technically closed for the day, but you came out of the building wearing a mask. You greeted me. You had an employee that was on the porch bringing stuff inside to close up for the night wearing a mask. There was nobody here. It was just the three of us, technically.
Yeah.
And that's a dedication to your cause.
Well, thank you. And we are dedicated to taking care of each other. Employees are committed to taking care of other employees, and that's a great point. I'm glad you recognized it. Thank you.
Yeah, and then so you mentioned, we talked about the patio and so much space that's available there. I mean that house next door. I will be back here on Saturday myself because I have a friend of mine who was actually sad she couldn't come with me.
Okay. Yeah.
So I said, well, they're not going to be open. I said, but we'll come up on Saturday and we'll check it out because I never got to come for the grand opening like I wanted to.
Sure.
Life gets busy.
Of course.
Whatever. So, but I also saw now going back to the beginning, we were talking about Saturdays and Sundays for outdoor Artisan Market. That's going to run through Halloween?
Yes, October 31st. Yep, you got it.
And that runs from 10 to 4 both of those days, correct?
Yes, from 10 to 4, the outdoor Artisan Market. Okay. Our buildings open up on Saturday at 9 and Sunday at 10. But the outdoor Artisan Market, we got to give them some time to set up. They're setting up some heavy tents and, setting up all their displays. We got to give them enough time. But we're talking about an eclectic group of people here. We're not talking about people just making little onesies for children. We have that, but I'm talking we have artisans that are making cake pops and chocolate chip cookies and food items and gourmet popcorn and artisans that make appointments with you to do professional drawings of your homes. Like if you were to see, and our artisans are rotating, so the people that were perhaps here a week ago will most likely see a different group this week.
And you just answered my next question. If they were the usuals or if they rotated, because it seemed like you would get a pretty good rotating clientele there.
We do get a great rotating clientele as far as our artisans, and we did that on purpose so that the community got just a little taste, a little flavor of what is out there, and of everybody a little bit different, so they didn't become bored week to week.
Sure.
And we did that exactly on purpose. So we're excited about it.
I like that.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. And there's just it's just a cool thing. Who would have ever thought that this back barnyard would be converted every Saturday and Sunday into a safe shopping area where people have to still wear masks and they can still have a grand old time and shop.
Yeah. And then you have the family game zone that you were talking about earlier, because we all know that, sometimes the little ones come around, they're going to get a little bored. We need to change the scenery and decompress a little bit. It sounds like the perfect area to give them an opportunity to take in a little of the yard fun and the parents to breathe and reset.
Yes.
Necessary.
We have our picture area. Sounds a little weird, but we have a giant, I believe it's 16-foot Adirondack chair out there.
Oh, okay.
So you can actually hop in the Adirondack chair. You look so small in it, but what's nice is that you can take a picture with it, and it looks really cool. Fun. It's got a beautiful background of the farmland and all that. So we've been experiencing that quite a bit.
Love it. And then so with the pandemic, obviously one of the big things was when people didn't want to really go in and explore places. You have online shopping and curbside pickup.
Yes, we have online shopping. You can go to our online store at www.rustic. You can see some of our artisans are featured on there. You can get anything from pictures to home decor. We have a special artisan who is on there that does the doors of specific townships, the doors of Lancaster, the doors of South Buffalo. And have you seen those?
Yeah,
and they're beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah.
So she does various doors. She's a professional photographer and takes pictures of the doors. And they're hot sellers, I think, and they're really neat.
Sometimes the front, now this is somebody who used to study architecture, but sometimes the front door, when it comes to design, is it sometimes will make the character of a house from the outside.
Yeah, and a front door is very important because it's the first thing you see, and it's the most welcoming thing you see, and that is what's captured in these pictures. So a normal eye may not see that, but a trained professional photographer's eye sees through that, grabs it, nabs it, and puts it on paper, believe it or not. But we have different townships: Clarence, Lancaster, the South Buffalo, Grand Island, and it's a really neat thing. So you can find things like that. That's a prime example. You can find gourmet popcorn. You can find Josh Allen candles. You can find hometown goods. You can find fire pits. Believe it or not, we're selling Buffalo hometown iron fire pits online. And if you don't think that those are shippable, you got another thing coming, because I just came from the UPS store just a few minutes ago and shipped it to Hawaii, a 75-pounder, and they're going to love it once they receive it. It's going to take 4 weeks.
It didn't have my son's name on it.
It didn't have your son.
That's where he's located.
Oh, really? Hawaii?
Yeah, Tonawanda.
Really? Yeah. So we just shipped, that's ironic. So we just shipped a fire pit to Hawaii, which is cool. Somebody in Hawaii is going to have, I love Buffalo, New York, and a Sabres logo and a Buffalo logo. Those are all cool things.
Another, just an extension of how this community is, and we talk about how you're embraced here and how Buffalo embraces each other. Buffalo itself called the city a good neighbor. Western New York really is like that itself. But Western New York area, the Buffalo area, really has influence anywhere you go. And you're even talking about, Josh Allen. All hail Josh Allen. You go to any city and you can find Sabres backer bars or Bills backer bars, and it's one of those places where you can go in there in the uniform of the day and be welcomed almost with open arms,
right?
And it's just like being back home. Right. Whether it's a lot of these folks are transplants. I know of a few of them in the Charlotte area where you can get there. You go there, you get your beef on weck, you get your buffalo wings, you get
Yeah, Buffalo is very special. The people that have grown up in Buffalo are special, and the people that migrate to Buffalo are very special because they fastly link on to the things that Buffalo loves so much, such as what you said, the Pola sausage and the beef on Wex and all of the other things, the Salon's hot dogs and the Ted's hot sauces and the chef's sauce. All of those things they link onto because they were brought here, and maybe perhaps their loved one brought them back here, but they fall in love with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it gets passed down from generation to generation.
I always remembered being in the military and coming home. We used to come home on these once-a-year trips, and I would always bring the cooler, and then we would pack it up with the bison dip, the Salon's hot dogs, and everything to take back with us. And then for weeks, it would be this giant buffalo picnic at our house in South Carolina.
How cool is that?
Just everything being so authentic.
See, that's cool. I love that. Yeah. If I could ship Salon's hot dogs, I would. I haven't mastered the whole freezing and frozen thing. I'm too scared to do it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll get the occasional box from, say, Blue Apron, and I'm like, how do you make this work?
Right.
And they come from New Jersey, supposedly.
Right. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, it's that special little frozen thing inside, which I don't know. When it comes to meat products, I'm want to make sure it's safe, right?
Right. So the first time it goes wrong, you're going to be like, I'm not doing this anymore.
So we're not saying don't trust the meat products if you get one for Christmas. We're just saying, come to Buffalo and get your own hot dog.
Right.
Go to Ted's or wherever.
And then while you're at it, hey, make a stop by the Rustic Buffalo.
Rustic Buffalo, that's right. Check out Rustic Buffalo.
That's it.
That's very cool, yeah.
Thanks again so much to John Perrone for sitting down and talking with me. It was a weekday afternoon after I'd gotten out of work. A lot of times these interviews, the best chance I have to talk with people is to see if they can see me after 5 p.m. And John was gracious enough, even after their store was closed for the night, to take some time to sit and talk with me. And I loved hearing about everything that they have to offer there. Here's what you do. Point your GPS to 6610 Shawnee Road in North Tonawanda. You'll see the campus up on the left-hand side. You can't miss it. So much to see, so much to do. Take it in. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know what you got. It's an amazing place, and you simply will not be disappointed. All right, everyone, that is going to be it for me. Here comes that normal housekeeping. Find us on Instagram. Find us on Facebook. Give us a follow. Give us a like. Let us know what businesses out there that you would like us to feature. One of my favorite new things is having you tag me when you go out for a beer or a flight or a pint or have something to eat. It's one of my new favorite things that is catching on now is you're tagging me in those posts. I'll put those up on our story and share them with everybody around us. So until next week, make sure that each and every one of you, go out there with much peace and love and to always remember to make your own path. So long.